Skills in Starfield are obviously important, so I'm going to give you a list of my recommended early game skills to get and some tips and tricks around how to level them up quickly, because it's not actually all that hard. So let's get into it. Now, diving right into this, I want to start with the physical skill tree, the first of your 5 skill trees. The first 3 skills that I really think you guys should dive into when you're starting your game is weightlifting, stealth, and gymnastics. Now, going into weightlifting first is a very no-brainer one, because as you rank up from levels 1 to 4, it increases your carrying capacity. And for playing for a couple of hours now, I am always carrying too much. So the ability to carry more is going to be that much easier. And the actual challenge for this is not hard, because if you're like me, you're going to be carrying a lot of stuff and sprinting everywhere. So you'll be able to rank up through these very quickly. Next is over on stealth, and this is actually something I've been waiting to spec into myself. Now, obviously, this actually includes a stealth meter, as you see here from the description, and the actual meter shows you a lot of different things that are going on in the game. It actually gives you a heads up when you're a little too close. If someone's going to see you, it's a really nice feature to have, and the actual challenge isn't difficult at all either. And I finally say gymnastics, even though you have to put specs into the first few pieces of the physical tree first to get to gymnastics. It's a really good one because it allows you to combat slide and you take less fall damage, which is super helpful, especially when you're jumping around on a moon that has lower gravity, but you still get hurt if you're jumping off a cliff into an ocean, essentially. That big of a difference will still give you fall damage. Having this will definitely help out a ton. Moving right on to the social skill, my 3 skills that I think you should go into is scavenging, persuasion, and commerce. Starting with commerce, it's a no-brainer as well because you can buy things for 5% less and sell things for 10% more. And in the early game, you want as many credits as you can possibly get your hands on. Obviously, this is going to be focused around actually selling items or buying items back as the challenge, and it really isn't that difficult, especially with all the junk that you come across, which is just fine because you'll be able to get these credits racked up really quickly. Next, moving on to persuasion. This was actually the first pick for me because I know with a RPG game, you're gonna be having a lot of conversations, and the more times you're actually able to succeed and get, XP for doing these successful speech challenges, it's gonna help you that much more throughout the game. And as you go through and rank up this persuasion skill, it's gonna help increase the ability for you to win these persuasion challenges that much more. Obviously, as you can see from my actual page, it's not a hard challenge either. Just have conversations and you'll rank this up extremely quickly. And finally, over to the scavenging one was another no-brainer in my opinion, because you're going to be going and opening so many different loot boxes, and why not get some extra credits and extra materials when you're doing all this looting? As you can see, the first challenge is loot 25 containers. The next is going to be going through and obviously opening up 50 containers, so on and so forth, while finding extra ammo, credits, 8 items, etc. Now, this part's going to be a little controversial because I don't really recommend any of these combat skills unless you know exactly how you want to play the game. Unlike me, when I jumped into this game, I didn't know if I wanted to focus on pistols, shotguns, or being up close and personal using the knives. I didn't fully know. So if you know exactly what you want to do, such as you want to use pistols constantly, get the pistol certification skill, because your pistols are going to do that much more damage, and the actual challenge is just killing people with pistols. It's very easy. You will rank it up very quickly, especially early game. So unless you know exactly what you want to do, I wouldn't pick a combat skill right off the bat, but you can of course take a look through and see all the different options you do have. So the choice is up to you. I do recommend getting eventually, just not early game. Moving right along to the science skill tree, there are 3 that absolutely should be top tier choices when you're starting the game, and that is surveying, research methods, and medicine. I did not pick medicine because, to be totally honest, I forgot to do it, but it helps with your med packs, trauma, and other healing items to do more health, and it heals you a lot faster. If you haven't played the game yet, you'll see that your med packs take a little while to get you to the full bar of health that it restores. So it's really nice to have this additional boost. So definitely one that I recommend you grab. Moving on to research methods, this is actually one I picked up right away because it helps with getting different researches done, obviously, but the research helps improve how you craft certain items, how you craft weapons, armor, med tools, and a whole bunch of different things that you use inside your outpost. So highly recommend doing this because you'll end up crafting something, and that's exactly how you rank up the skill as well. So very simple, very easy, a must-have in my opinion. And finally, moving on to surveying, which I found super helpful. It's something I picked up a little bit later on in my first 10 levels, but this is something that I started using a lot when I came across a bunch of really high level aliens that one-shot me. This allows you to have a bigger distance on your scanner so you can zoom farther, get the scan to help scan the environment and the aliens that are on a planet, so you can get those credits for actually going through that survey. This is definitely recommended, I'd say later on in the early game, but I also say it's a great one to have off the bat because you'll be scanning a lot of stuff on your early planets. So my recommendation is definitely get it early. And finally, in the tech tree, I recommend you get targeting control systems, security, and of course, boost pack training. Boost pack training is an obvious one, mostly because it allows you to use a boost pack right away. And the challenge, as you can see on my screen, is very simple as well. All you have to do is when you're in combat, you use your boost pack. You don't have to shoot somebody while you're boost packing, you just have to actually use it. It's a very easy skill to level up, and you get to fly around. Who doesn't love that? Moving on to security, it's another must-have in my opinion, especially early game, because you get a lockpick or digipick right away. You can already go into advanced locks, and as you rank this up, you get to harder and harder locks, which are more abundant than you might think in the game. And finally, moving on to target control systems. This allows you to focus on a particular part of your enemy ships when you're fighting them and disable them. So saying you want to take out their engines so you can go and board that ship, you can do that with this instead of just shooting at the ship and hoping you don't blow it up and going board it that way. Highly recommend this as well. Another thing to keep in mind with your skill choices is what later on skills you want to get. So what I mean is that if you start in the combat, you can start with pistol certification, but keep in mind that you have to spend 12 points in total in combat to get the sharpshooting and just to have it be available for unlocking. So you need 13 points in total to actually unlock sharpshooting. And that goes with every single one of these tiers. Every single one of these skill trees, you have to start and use points in the different tier levels to actually get to these high tier skills. Something to keep in mind when you're picking out your first skills. Now this was a very quick and obvious, very biased skills progression that I just showed with you guys, but obviously at the end of the day, it all comes down to what you want to do and how you want to play this game. These are just my recommendations. I hope you liked this. I hope you found it helpful because I wish I knew this stuff when I was starting out my game for the first time around. If you guys did find this helpful, hit the like and subscribe button so I know you did, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.